Internships, essentially, I am the first point of call that all students will come through, especially within the Americas, the Europe, as well as Africa and the Middle East. We do have counterparts that do handle Asia, and they will be your first point of call. But it's my excitement today to explain to you the benefits of a remote internship and why you should be doing them. So just give me a second while I share my screen and we can get underway. Perfect. Awesome. So remote working, what is a remote work experience and why you should have one? That's the topic we're going to cover today, and essentially why the traditional model of standard internships is moving to a virtual landscape. So essentially, COVID-19 has impacted workplaces all over the world, and a lot of employees are now, employers are still sitting there thinking how they can, best still produce the quality of work that they're looking for, while a lot of their employees are sitting at home. And essentially, can I work from home or am I tethered to the workplace? A lot of employees are asking these days. So through quarantines, lockdowns, and self-imposed isolation, that's pushed tens of millions of people from the workplace into their own homes. And now they're all adapting to this same struggle of trying to meet the same quota that they've already been given while sitting at home, where there could potentially be more distractions or other items that sort of impact their work. And what we're going to cover today is essentially that's not the case anymore, and that this transition from traditional at the office internships is now moving to a virtual landscape. So now, well into the pandemic, the limitations and the benefits of remote work are clear. A lot of employees and professionals have been doing this for the last 2 years, and it's really taken strides since COVID-19. And I guess that's a positive twist or a silver lining. We could have a look at COVID-19. It is a very serious situation that's happened, but there is obviously a silver lining, and this is what's happened of it. So the virus has broken through the cultural and technological barriers that prevented remote work in the past, and setting in motion a structure of shift where we can take our work anywhere in the world we would like to do it. So as mentioned, my name is Alex and I'm an enrollment manager. Should you have any questions after this presentation, feel free to put them in the chat box as mentioned, but obviously my email will become available. So if you have any questions, feel free to send me an email. So what we're going to cover today is essentially, one, what is remote work? What does remote look like and what are the benefits that come with that? The second is who works remotely and who's currently working remotely and why? So what are some of the trends that are currently happening? Who's currently doing it? Now we'll also look into how to work remotely as well. So how can you, as a student, engage in remote work while sitting at your own home, which is kind of the benefit there. And then lastly, what we'll do is we'll go over the virtual internship program, what it includes, and everything that's involved in our virtual internship program. So to start off, what is remote work and what does remote work look like and what are the benefits? Remote work has a variety of different terms. It's also known from work from home, so WFH, virtual work, telecommunicating. There's a list of names of what remote working is. However, what it is a flexible working arrangement that allows an employee to work from home or a remote location outside of the corporate physical offices. So you could be sitting in a coffee shop doing your work while you could also go to the beach and do your work while still maintaining that same level of quality work, but having that ability just to be anywhere in the world. I know there has been a particular star on TikTok that's been trying to push these boundaries of remote working, where he has a green screen around his back and he does pretty exciting activities while he's on meetings. We don't recommend that, but it is a good idea to think that you could still do remote work while riding a motorbike if you really pushed yourself to it. Obviously, we don't encourage that, but you can do that. So where are remote workers? A majority of them are at home. Many of the remote workers have set an office aside, including myself. I've got my own little office space here in my home, work remotely from the UK, but also a lot of people work at co-working spaces. And I've also had experience with this, where you'll go into a general building and it is that, infrastructure of going to an office somewhere in a city. However, what the ability that co-working spaces allow you to make a network with different professionals in different industries. So co-working spaces are shared offices and allow you to interact with different employees from different organizations, allowing you to build up those networks, which is quite important in these days. Then there's the flip side of digital nomads. This is a very increasing trend at the moment, with governments actually promoting particular visas. So for example, I know Portugal is one of the countries that does a digital nomad visa, where they'll allow you to come to the country. You could work anywhere in Portugal, essentially on the beach, as this example, and they'll strongly encourage other employees to come across. So it is a growing trend that digital nomads is a thing, and it's a thing that's here to stay. And honestly, I can't blame anyone wanting to sit on the beach and do their work from there. So who works remotely? So a recent study by Harvard University know that 27% of US workers would like to remain 100% remote working. 55% would like to have a hybrid model of 2 to 3 days at home and the other days at work. In addition to that, another 18% would prefer to be full-time. Obviously, remote work is not for everyone, and it necessarily doesn't always work out as well as you say your other colleagues. However, it is a skill that you would need to learn going into the future of work. More and more companies are moving to that transition. A lot of companies are now offering this hybrid model of 1 to 2 days at home, 3 days at the office. So getting those skills and understanding how remote work and how it best works for you is quite keen. The benefits here listed for remote work is reduced costs to the company in terms of rent. So if you were a company owner and you had 10 employees and you had the ability to do 100% remote work, you would take that opportunity because it would save you in costs on rent and other infrastructure that you would have to supply. It also increases the time back to staff who no longer need to commute. If some people, in my experience, have commuted for 2 hours just to get to work. For your reference, I am from Australia and 2 hours is not that long. However, a lot of my friends were doing a 2-hour commute to and from work. So obviously it's a lot of time that you miss out in your own personal life traveling to and from work. There's flexible working hours and support, and there's a loss of a need to be in a location, urban centers, or near an office. So if you are considered located in a rural area, you could potentially take advantage of a remote internship and essentially working for a large corporate company while still sitting in your urban or remote area. It's also important to note that while this is a US statistic, it is mirrored around the world, with 88% of UAE workers and 71% of UK workers also wanting to work remotely or have this hybrid model. So this isn't just a US trend, this is a global trend that's been happening, and it's essentially started out of COVID, but now is going to become the future of work. So it is key to learn these skills. We have learned a ton through this pandemic and working virtually. As we think about the evolution of flexibility, it is a natural step. This was a quote by PwC's deputy people leader, understanding this change from in the office work to remote work and offering their employees the ability to work remotely, which on the next slide here, we can see in September 2021, the accounting and consulting firm PwC announced it was going to allow its 40,000 US client service employees work virtually anywhere where they would like to. They've also made this same offer to UK firms or their UK counterparts, as well as other global offices. But also you can see Facebook here is one that's also embracing this trend, with many of its 50,000 employees and new recruits going to be working from home permanently since COVID-19. Apple offers 100% remote working options as well, and Slack, which has been a very big instant messaging service that's really shined through this COVID situation, but now is also allowing all of its staff to work remotely, with the plans to increasingly hire remote first workers, and which that remote work first means essentially they would never go to the office. There would be no need. They would always work from home, and they would still have that interaction with their supervisors, their managers, and their colleagues. It's also important to know that these are quite big companies and well-known companies, but this trend of moving to remote work is not something just the big companies are doing. A lot of startup companies and small to medium-sized companies are following this trend as well, because it makes a lot of sense to them. They are saving a lot of costs by having the infrastructure and actually putting that costs or that profit they've made from reducing those costs back into their employees, which is quite fantastic. Virtual internships is to be happy to working with 5,500 plus host companies, and of that, 90% of our host companies are actually made up of these small to medium companies and startup companies that are realizing that virtual is the way to go, and they're opening up their doors to our interns to come and experience this and experience what they're offering in their products, in their services, and still allowing that intern to gain that necessary experience while sitting at home. A day in the life of a remote worker could be considered the 9 to 5 traditional. However, it is drastically reduced with commuting hours. So for example, at 8:30 a.m., I would get up, I would make my way to the office, which is essentially a 15-second walk after I've made my coffee. And once I sit at my computer, I sit there, read through all my emails, have finished the remaining of my coffee, grab another one if I need to, but I have that flexibility to, wake up a little bit later, but still be on time to start at 9 o'clock. From there, I moved to my first meeting, which is with my colleagues in another country, but is also 4 hours ahead of me as well. So I can still connect with my colleagues globally while sitting in my own office. And a lot of my meetings are with my colleagues in Asia and parts of Europe and South America and the US. And not a lot of them actually here based in the UK. So it is quite exciting for myself to get an understanding of what they're also going through on that side of the world, and what allows us to connect over video for better collaboration and to connect, but also for us to deliver our projects that we're working on. At 12 o'clock, I take my lunch break and I go for a run. It allows me to clear my head, think about what I'm currently doing, but also allows me to mentally reset before coming back after my lunch break. So you could yourself take this hour to do whatever you want. You could watch TV, you could listen to music, you could go see a friend for coffee. You have that ability and that flexibility to do whatever you want in your own time, and you're not having to worry about that commuting part. So when I was working in an office, the lunch break was an hour, but if I wanted to get a particular sushi, I'd still have to walk about 15 minutes to go get it. And then once I got it, 15 minutes back. And so I've already lost half an hour there just walking to and from to get my lunch, which is a bit of a shame, but that is what traditional work is. From there, it's 2 p.m. I'll have my meeting, which can be great. Quick chats over Slack and allow me to, for the team members who are across globally, to easily connect. So a lot of instant messaging services like Slack, Click, Facebook Messenger have been growing, as well as common use within the workplace, and allows that texting back and forth with colleagues to solve that quick problem without waiting for that email to come in 24 hours. Or if they're in a different department, when it comes to actually in the office, you maybe have to book a meeting. But if once you got this instant messaging service, it removes all those barriers. At 3:30, I take a 15-minute break just to load some laundry. Obviously, I've still got chores around the house I have to do as I own this house. So obviously, it allows me to take quick breaks, do what I need to do, and get back to work without sort of impacting my overall role. And then at 5:30, I call it a day, turn off my computer, and clearly step away from my work area, just so I'm not constantly thinking about it. And I have that clear separation of work and my personal life. It is quite key. And I know some people with remote work can sometimes struggle with this separation of work and home life because it is all in the one. But once you find that key to actually engage in that remote work and not worry about it, once you've finished at 6 o'clock, you'll be an ace at remote working. And again, a typical day for remote worker may not be the 9 to 5. It does allow them to, individually set their own working hours. So for example, they could have a doctor's appointment at 9 a.m., which could go to 12, or they could have to go to hairdressers they've been waiting on for months to get into. Remote working allows that flexibility where you can set an hour or two out of your day for your own personal life, and then make up that hour or two later in the evening or whenever you can, because remote working allows you to, again, work from anywhere at any time, which is really key there. And this has been my own personal experience. So the key takeaway from remote working is the flexibility. There's a lot of flexibility here where you can essentially do the work that you want to in the hours you want to, and still have that time set aside to go see your friends, family, get that coffee, see that movie. You'll have it all while still doing the same work, which is quite exciting. It also helps improve with your mental health as well, allowing you to, set some time aside for yourself to really think through. And that has been noted that remote working has seen an increase in essentially employers' mental health, and an increased mental health as well. So they're seeing the benefits of this. A lot of companies are also seeing the benefits of this. And so they are moving that transition across. So how can you work remotely, and how as a student can you engage in remote work? And this is a lot of questions I get asked on a day-to-day basis, is how can I make this move to this trend myself? So it's important to consider remote work is here now and it's here to stay. So about 81% of the companies and employees would like to work permanently remote or hybrid model. So Gaining that real world experience in a remote environment will allow you to stand out as from your candidates or your other candidates that you're applying for a job for a hybrid or remote position, because you would have already had that experience. Again, remote internships are still a new concept, so not a lot of students have signed up for this program, but should you sign up for this, you will no doubt stand out with any interviews in the future, especially when it becomes a hybrid or a remote position you're applying for, but even a traditional in-office position. It would clearly show that your dedication to work, time management skills are very key there and very developed as well. So you'll be able to sort of show these in your interview and sort of outshine your other candidates, or like I like to call them, competitors, because you're all applying for the same job. Key skills needed for 2025 are analytical thinking, creativity, and flexibility. And in a remote internship, you will gain that experience you will need that will allow you to understand these soft skills and start developing so you can stand out. So it is quite key to have analytical thinking, creativity, and flexibility, as we've sort of mentioned before. Employers are now also comfortable to managing their complete hiring circle virtually from application to interview. So completing a remote work now will allow you to gain skills in remote communication and confidence behind the computer and camera. We like to instill this in our programs by allowing students to do a pre-recorded video after they've essentially enrolled for the program. The reason why we've put this in place, it is allow students to, again, build up these abilities to conduct a interview remotely, because this, again, is going to be the moving trend. A lot of high HR professionals are just essentially screening candidates virtually, having video calls virtually, and they may or may not ever meet these people in person. So it is key to get an understanding of yourself and how comfortable you are behind the camera and how you can articulate what the message you're trying to say through a camera. It is a lot difficult sometimes between a camera and in person, so it is key to learn these skills. So engaging in remote work is essentially done in 3 steps. You can do this, it's accessible to anyone and everyone. So you, first off, I would say, complete a remote internship. Gaining a remote work experience will allow you to better understand the virtual collaboration tools, virtual meetings, and remote work culture adapting for future jobs. So 67% of our alumni who completed a remote internship also gained an increase in interest in working remotely in the future. And that's quite key there. So our programs are designed to encourage you to continue on your path of remote working. We see that's where the trend's going. We want to equip students and essentially provide them with the tools so that they can become the future leaders of tomorrow. There's also engaging online learning. So this could be, courses on LinkedIn or Coursera. This could be Opens University. Developing your skills on a virtual platform will not only allow you to, again, do the work remotely, set time management skills, but it just gets you familiar with the remote world. So, it allows you to build hard and soft skills that you'll need for the future of work while demonstrating an initiative and a drive for lifelong learning. So according to the World Economic Forum, of 94% of business leaders report that they expect employees to pick up new skills on a job, which is a sharp uptake from 65%. So gaining these new skills can be done in a variety of different ways. So this could be taking on extra projects outside of your current skill set at the office place, but a lot of them are doing these online courses to get, a diploma in digital marketing, or to get a diploma in, graphic design. Again, you can do a lot of courses online these days, and continuously learning new skills will make you set yourself apart. Lastly, it's to connect on LinkedIn. So a lot of us have had experience with LinkedIn, even if it is limited. However, embracing LinkedIn and other similar technologies will allow you to reach out to potential contacts. You can set job notifications for remote jobs. You can see the type of jobs that you may be interested in. I'd strongly encourage just having a look at what jobs are being posted on LinkedIn at the moment. Search some of the titles you'd be interested in your 5 to 10 year goals. So for example, mine would potentially be, marketing manager. So if I was wanting to look into a marketing manager, I'd have a look on LinkedIn for remote marketing manager internships and go from there and see what they're saying, who are the current professionals are, and potentially reach out to them to see if I can get some insight into this industry and how it might best work for me. So now we'll go on to our actual programs and what does a remote internship look like for a student? Any student, regardless of age, backgrounds, social status, we will accept all students. remote internship, virtual internship, online internship, all the names you could possibly think about, is essentially completing your own internship without commute and directly on your own laptop. So you will gain a global experience by completing the internship from your comfort on your own home. To follow this, we currently have host companies in 70 different countries. So for example, if you wanted to move to China in the future, but you weren't too sure on the cultural business practices of that, what they were doing, I would strongly encourage you doing a remote internship in China, where you'll learn the cultural business practices, you will form new networks and connections, and potentially you might even get a bit more, more cultural understanding of your Chinese colleagues, should that ever happen in the future. And a lot more employers are seeking that cultural understanding these days when it comes to hiring new employees. We are in a globalized world. Whenever you get into the workplace, you will have colleagues from vastly different countries. Virtual internships, for example, I think we have about 45 different nationalities. I think that's a little bit more, but we're a very global team. And this is a very good, this is a common trend with a lot of businesses these days, is they will hire the person they need regardless of where they are in the world. You'll be fully supervised and supported as you would gain industry knowledge within your chosen career field. When completing a remote internship, many of the same aspects of a traditional in-person internship still exist. So this includes meetings with your supervisor or teammates, completing a mix of individual and group projects, and learning the overall company culture and industry as it works. And there's, again, this is exactly the same as a traditional in-person internship. You're just moving it remotely. And unlike traditional internships, there may exist much more flexibility in your work hours. As we've already mentioned, project timelines and how you connect with your team. You have that flexibility to do this at any part of the day where you feel comfortable and ready to work. So you could essentially take most of the morning off and go to the gym, have a coffee with friends, do what you need to do, and then say start working at 3 and finish at 9 p.m. that night. Again, it is your work hours, your life. You get to choose what you would like to do. Standard internship programs last for 1, 2, 3, or 4 months, guaranteed in your chosen career field. So we've got 18 career fields, which I'll go over a little bit later, but you were guaranteed an internship in your chosen career field. And then this placement is broken down into 10, 20, or 30 hours per week. So we do offer both full-time internships and part-time internships. So we do fit around your current commitments, whether this is family, work, or study. We can still provide you that internship regardless of what commitments you currently have. You'll also get a dedicated internship experience manager for regular check-ins. This is on a weekly basis, so they'll touch base with you to see how it's going, how your project's going, how you're feeling about the internship, how you feel about the company and your supervisor, and help you with any issues you may have, or just be there just to encourage you throughout your internship. You'll also be assigned an internship coach to complete a midpoint and endpoint coaching session. And these are quite valuable as they allow you to sort of see your own career path come to light in front of you. So our internship coach will have a look at what you're doing, your CV, what your career path is, and they'll be able to essentially help develop a career path plan for you. So after your internship, you know exactly what you're looking to do and where you need to go. And this is a service that we include in all of our programs. You'll also have fortnightly business webinars covering a range of topical themes. So we get industry leaders to come from a particular industry to talk about what they're doing, how they first started their business and how it's got to the point they are. So you're getting a lot of valuable information all on the same price. So you don't need to essentially go out and get these information sessions. And if you did, they would generally cost anywhere from between $100 to $500 US. They can be quite costly, but we do include them in here for free. We have weekly group discussions, so led by a moderator to answer any questions and provide guidance. And then at the end of your program, you get an end of program report which includes a supervisor evaluation, a student self-assessment, and a career management plan as well. So you get a lot included on top of your standard internship or your remote internship. You get also these added benefits. So why complete an internship with VI? So we guarantee you an internship in your chosen career field, as I've mentioned. We have professional support. So the first time work experience can be tricky. However, we are here at any point to help you through it. So you will always have contact with virtual internships, 24 hours, 7 days a week, for a range of any issues that you could experience. But we also do help you with additional information and do send this to you on a regular basis. And we do have global host companies. So we can guarantee placements occur across the globe, allowing you to not only gain enhanced professional skills, but also gain that intercultural understanding and fluency as well. It's pretty important to note that our alumni have provided feedback on their experiences, and about 90% have agreed that completing a virtual internship has increased their ability to work remotely, which is very key here. Obviously, understanding how remote works is going to be that key deciding point whether you get that job or not in the future when it comes to a remote role. 28% of our participants also extended their internship, or at least were offered a full-time position, which is quite exciting. So again, by completing your internships, you have that ability to gain that full-time position. And when you enroll to the program, have a chat with your enrollment manager about what this particularly may look like for yourself, because it is different for each individual. And then 67 participants also had an increase in their interest in working remotely in the future. So that's quite important to know. Application steps are quite simple. Essentially, you complete an online application form, very easy, takes about 5 minutes at best. Then you book a call with an enrollment manager like myself. And during this call, it's about 20 to 30 minutes. We'll discuss your preferences that you've selected. We'll go over the your public profile that you would have created, but we'll also provide you 2 host company examples to sort of discuss with you the potential roles you might be interested in, the particular companies that we have available, so you can get a better understanding of what your actual internship may look like. And then the final step is to enroll in your program. And this is committed by making that first payment. If you're struggling to make that payment, obviously speak to us enrollment managers. We do have solutions and we do have experience in this field, as we understand that not all of our interns may necessarily be able to afford this in the first go, but we are here to work with you and find solutions for you. As mentioned, 18 career fields. So these are listed on our websites. A lot of our internship career fields also include other ones. For example, like game design comes under comes under media communications and publishing. You've got fashion as well. You've got any industry you could potentially think of. They most likely do fit within these 18 career fields. So if you're ever at a bit of loss of, my current studies don't resonate with these 18 career fields, have a chat with your enrollment manager, tell them the degree that you're studying. They'll have a look at it and they'll be able to advise on the best career field for yourself. And it's important to note, just sort of having a look at where our host company is located. So look, as you can see, the majority are based in Asia at 36%, but Europe and UK it's about 21%, North America is 11%, and Oceania is about 6%. And to follow up on this, I'd like to show you some host company examples. So on here is our project plans that we deliver to interns once they've made that first payment and we've started the placement process. So every intern will get a project plan exactly like this. And as you can see, this is a company we currently work with. So McNeil Collective, and they're looking for a social media marketing manager. In these documents, you'll get the company overview. So McNeil Collective is a bootstrapping startup with a mission to distribute the health and safety of market by making consulting grade tools available for every business. It's quite cool. You'll be able to see that their preferred tools is Microsoft Teams. This could be a variety of different online platforms. It could be Zoom. It could be Google Workspace, whatever it is. They're generally quite easy to access and learn. You note how many times a week you'll be meeting with your supervisor, so multiple times per week. And down here, we can see what the projects are. So you will always have a list of projects that you will work on for the duration of your internship. And this will clearly be articulated in these documents. If they are ever unclear, obviously reach out to Virtual Internships and we're happy to help. And then down the bottom, we just sort of, we get the host companies to tick the boxes in which, by completing this internship, we hope you learn these particular niche skills, as well as these career field skills. So in marketing, it would be copywriting, website, blog, and marketing, digital marketing, AdWords and SEO, and social media marketing. So this is obviously a very social media marketing manager. So those are the skills you will learn. But again, we have this for multiple all 18 career fields. So this is an engineering internship. So a research engineer at Analytics, and this is a company based in the US. So these are just 2 examples, general examples, but during our enrollment call, we do provide you detailed examples. So we go through the company's website, information about what they're doing, as well as the projects they're looking for. So there's a lot included in our conversations. And I believe that is everything that I have to say today. So it's been an absolute pleasure, and I'd be more than happy to answer anyone's questions.
Oh, great. Thank you, Alex, for walking us through such an interesting presentation with useful insights into remote work and how it's become nowadays employment trend after the pandemic. Especially the virtual internship program provides students the opportunity to bridge their gap between the education and the workplace from their own comfort home. So now we are moving on to the Q&A section. I believe that you guys have had a great time listening to Alex sharing and coming up with different questions in mind. So please feel free to input your question into the chat box now to ask Alex that. So while waiting for this question coming up, I would like to ask Alex a few first questions that I have recently received from the student. So the first question is, what are the differences between the virtual and in-person internships in terms of students' benefit for the future career?
Yeah, so the differences, the major difference here between a traditional internship and a virtual internship and what a student will gain out of it is that experience to work virtually. You could still do a traditional internship, and obviously we encourage any student to get an internship because our aim here is to close that gap. So should you decide to go a traditional method, we by all means encourage you. However, the difference between a virtual internship and the virtual internship and in-person internship is essentially learning those remote skills. So that communication via a digital platform, the confidence behind the camera. And again, you would have these experiences in the traditional internships, but they may not be many. So a lot of your meetings would be potentially in person, so you would lose that ability to learn how to articulate yourself over a digital platform, how to convey your message to a wider audience. So I know, for example, Zoom here, you can host up to about 50 participants at once, which in a board office meeting, you can't fit 50 people. So again, you have a lot more ability to reach out to more students, more people via the virtual platform, and that is quite key there.
That's great. Thank you, Alex. So we receive a few more questions from the audience here. So it's most about the fee of program. So would you mind introducing a little bit about the program fee, or will they get paid or not? Yeah.
Yeah, so our programs do incur a service fee. Our standard program does cost $1,495 USD. And the reason why we've set a cost for our programs is not only do we guarantee you that internship in your chosen career field, we have all those additional benefits that I've mentioned. So you'll get an internship coach that will help guide you through your career. They will guide you your career path and help have that open discussion with you what you would liking to do in the future. You'll also have an intern experience manager, which will help you throughout the duration of your internship. And in my personal experience, doing a self-sourced internship has resulted in a few problems. And in particular is structure, as well as the projects that I'm working on. I've done in-person ones, it wasn't a lot of skills I was learning until I did a remote internship through virtual internships, which was quite fantastic. From there, what I learned is that internships should be structured. There should be a guide there, and you should have that reassurance that you can always reach out to someone should you have any issues, and that's what our programs offer. What we also offer is, the fortnightly webinars, access to a Career Bridge online platform. There's a lot of inclusions outside of just the standard internship. And like I said, if you went through the traditional method, you wouldn't have all these added benefits, and you may not even get the internship you're seeking. Now, when it comes to a paid internship, we like to leave the decision up to the host companies and allow students to have this conversation with their supervisors once they get to that stage, because it equips you with the skills to have that difficult conversation in the future. Whenever you go for a job in the future, you will have that discussion about salary, whether this is paid or not, what are the benefits. So you'll be able to learn that experience through this at no consequence to yourself. So if it is a paid internship, that's fantastic and that's amazing for you. If it is an unpaid internship, that doesn't mean essentially you're missing out. You might also get a lot of other benefits, but the main key thing here is the experience you're going to get. You are paying for the experience, not to be paid back, essentially. You want to get that experience in that industry so you can gain that job you're seeking.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you, Alex. I believe that from Alex's answer, that's already covering the program fee details and the benefit of paying for the program, what support you guys will get when joining the virtual internship program, and if the internship from joining the internship, will you get paid or not? So moving on to the next questions, I would like to ask Alex that what are the solutions to support students if they are struggling with the payment? Sorry, you're on mute.
Sorry. So there's a variety of solutions. So the first and foremost, I would always recommend having a chat with your university. They sometimes have funds set aside for remote internships, standard internships. So having a chat with your careers counselor, your course convener, or your international office would be always your first point of call. Your second is to have a look at government grants, and a lot more governments these days are recognizing the benefits of internships and remote internships, and they are offering scholarships for students to complete them. And to the best of my knowledge, countries like the US, UK, Australia, New Zealand, parts of Asia are all jumping on board and providing scholarships for their citizens to get this experience. Another solution is you can always have a chat with your family. I know they're most likely been supporting you throughout this whole study period anyway. However, if you sit them down and have a conversation with them, and again, virtual internships can be a part of that conversation should you wish, you can explain the benefits of doing this program and why paying the fees will result you in getting that job that you're seeking in the future. And then the last suggestion, you can always do fundraising. It's a very big thing at the moment. And I couldn't think of a more better avenue to fundraise than for your own experience to, levitate yourself to get that position that you're seeking. And I think a lot of people would resonate with that.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Alex, for those solutions and for the tips to support with the payment to join in the program. So the next question is a very interesting one. Can you please give some life hacks how to get through the first step of choosing for internship in big companies and how to make them pay attention to you?
Yep, no problem. So yes, going for an internship, a virtual internship with a big company is a very exciting thing. How to get them noticed to you is essentially that method of reaching out via LinkedIn. So if you want to source your own internship for big companies, as mentioned, 10% of our host companies are big corporate companies, and I'll get into the benefits of a small companies after this. But should you wish to go for like PwC or Dentons or any large corporate company, my suggestion would be to have a look on LinkedIn and essentially search the role, type in remote, and the company that you have in mind, and then have a look at what are the employees saying about their positions. You'll have a look at what they're looking for, and then once you've got that employee that you really resonate with, reach out to them via LinkedIn and just say, hey, look, my name is Alex, and I'm just wanting to connect to pick your brain about what your position is like, as I would like in the future to be in your same position, in your shoes. And that is a way you can get them attention. This works, 50% of the time. A lot of people are busy. So it is just rinse and repeat. Keep trying until you get that connection that you're looking for. But when it comes to small companies, I would strongly suggest doing an internship with them, because generally the supervisor is a SEO, CEO, chief academic officer. They are generally senior staff members within the company, and to get that experience is very valuable to learn how they operate a business while you're still doing an internship, compared to going to an internship with a very big company and you could just be placed with a manager. So there is benefits and there is cons to both going for the big company and the smaller companies.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Alex. Yeah, I believe LinkedIn is a very good platform to connect with the employer, especially from the big company, and then so that they can have a look at your LinkedIn profile to have a look through experience and skill, and also invite you for an interview if you have great experience and match with their internship role requirements. So moving on to the next questions, is it possible to get enrolled on a program that is not connected with my university major?
Yes, and again, strongly suggest that you would do an internship to explore a different career path. So over the last couple of days, I've actually been speaking to a variety of students and actually young professionals that are wanting to make that career change to explore a different industry without having obviously the repercussions of, say, quitting the job and making that move and not seeing it come to fruition. So yes, you can do a internship that is completely different to your degree. So for example, you could be doing health and you would like to be doing marketing internship, by all means, we would encourage it, and we strongly say come to us and we'll help you find that placement. Our host companies understand that the interns we're placing them at have little to no experience in that field. And so they've created these projects to guide students, to sort of show them and equip them with these skills. So all of our host companies, all 5,500 active host companies, are aware that our interns will have little to limited experience in their chosen career fields. So yes, we'll always encourage you to come and explore a different career field with us.
Yeah, thank you. So another student asked that, will I get the certificate in the end of an internship? So it would be great if Alex can share that what sort of certificates or any form that student will gain after completing the virtual internship program.
Yep, by all means, I can share examples after this of our end of certificate, end of program certificate. But yes, you are guaranteed a end of program report, which it does include a certificate of completion. And this certificate can be used, to apply for the university, if you want to go to a different career path and you need some sort of evidence that you've had experience, or you could use it as a reference when you go and apply for employers. So yes, you're 100% guaranteed a certificate of completion at the end of your internship, plus the end of program report.
Right. Great. Thanks. That's interesting. Another question related to your experience in working remotely, I believe. So, do you face a problem of feeling sort of frustrated and out of energy due to the lack of real life communication and constant work with your laptop? If yes, how do you cope with it? And stay tuned.
I understand this question, and yes, I can. I get it that there can be frustrations, especially trying to connect with particular colleagues that are in a different time zone. However, at the end of the day, I have a lot of flexibility to work the hours I want. So if I know a colleague in the US starts at 9 a.m. their time, that's 2 p.m. my time in the US. So that would be the time that I'd reach out. And when it comes to human interaction, I don't find any struggles with that, because I've got a group of friends here in the UK with me. I've traveled all over the world, and I've done remote working in China, Vietnam, Australia, New Zealand, US. The list goes on. And I've always developed a good, close network of friends, because these network of friends are also in similar boats of doing remote work. And there is forums online, Facebook groups for remote workers to connect and just have a coffee and have that human interaction. But I'd always suggest, whenever you get on a meeting, do it in a video meeting, so you can at least see their face and have that human interaction. That would be my tips there to avoid that frustration and feeling out of the loop, is just communicate, and that will be your biggest key.
That's great. I agree with that. So it is a little bit tricky when you first joining work remotely, right? But now we have a different tool to communicate online, especially Zoom right now, so we can talk and communicate to each other every day. That will reduce of the lack of real life communication, but even more frequent of communication. So the question about virtual internship program, is there's a limit in terms of age to enroll for the program?
Absolutely no. So as mentioned, I've been speaking to a couple of young professionals. These young professionals are in the age bracket of 50 to 60. So again, there is no age bracket. There is no age limit per se. So you could be doing 30 years in the industry and you say, look, I've had enough. I want to try something different, see if my skills work there. Come to us, we'll happily accept you. And if anything, it'd be an exciting conversation to have with you about how you can use your skills that you've learned over the last 30 years and how they're transferable into this particular new industry. So we would encourage you, regardless of age, background, financial status, if you are seeking internship experience, you are more than welcome on our programs.
Okay, great. Should we be exactly the young students, or is it enough to be the professional with passion in order to apply for the internship?
It's perfectly enough to be a professional with a passion, and that's what we're seeking. We're wanting these interns to come across with that passion. Like, I need that experience to get that job that I want. If you have that passion, you'll ace the internship with no problem. So you don't have to be enrolled into university. You don't even have to finish high school. We encourage obviously finishing high school, but you can still do our programs regardless of your background.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. So I think with this question, could you give us examples of typical internship duties for different industries? I think, Alice, you can share again the project placement example so that student can see.
Yep, not a problem. Just give me a second. So when it comes to engineering, the different types of, programs, it's going to be different for each company. They all create their own project plan. However, when it comes to engineering, it could be CAD design, it could be, reviewing a current product that's in work, R&D. You've got business, which is business development. This is business research, communications. Then you've got public relations. Then you've got HR. It's going to be very different for each career field and each company as well. So to get a very detailed list of the projects that you could potentially be working on, I would strongly encourage booking a call with an enrollment manager, as they'll be able to pull up 2 or 3 examples aligned with your preferences, and we'll go through the projects that these companies have listed that they're seeking an intern. So you can sort of sit back and say, all right, cool, the company A is doing 1, 2, and 3. I only particularly like 2. However, company C is doing 1, 2, and 4, and I actually like all of those. So I'm more aligned to go with that company. So with each enrollment call that you'll have, you'll always be provided 2 or 3 examples of host companies aligned with your current career field and your preferences.
Okay, that's very interesting. I believe that the example Alex just shown is very, so the typical internship duty is the kind of a great example for the industry, the career field in engineering. And if you would like to see more examples of the internship responsibility or duty in different industry, feel free to reach out to IEC, and then they will support you with further example with that. So the next question is, what about time zone in different country, and is it a problem to work with this?
So again, it depends. So when you go through the application process, you'll be able to select the preferred host company locations. So for example, if I was based in the UK, however, I wanted to do an internship in New Zealand, obviously by selecting that host company location, I would be aware of the time zone differences. So if I was going to do an internship in New Zealand while sitting in the UK, essentially I'll be doing a lot of evening work, at least just for the meetings alone. And you only really need to be available for those meetings. Outside of that, the time zones don't really matter, because you'll be doing your own work, or at least in a group project, you'll be doing your added part when it's available to you. So I understand that time zones can be a bit difficult, and I've had my fair share of meetings at 12 a.m., 2 a.m. It's just a part of the the role when it comes to remote interns. Well, when it comes to remote roles, you may have those late evenings. However, you make that up by starting an hour or 2 later, because you've stayed up till 2 o'clock. And a lot of companies are understanding of that. So when it comes to the internship, I wouldn't necessarily focus too much on the time zone. Focus on the country you want to get experience in, and you will make it work. You'll have those meetings maybe a little bit in the evening, afternoon, early morning, but outside of that, your own work will be in the time that you want to work on it.
All right. Thank you, Alex. So does anyone have any further question for Alex? Please feel free to type in the chat box. All right, so with further information about the internship, virtual internship program, we will be providing you later on after the webinar in a follow-up email, and feel free to reach out to IEC for support if you're interested in applying for the virtual internship program. And also, if you have any question, feel free to email us at hello@virtualinternships.com to learn more about the program. So as we don't have any further questions, I will wrap up today's webinar now. Again, if you have more questions comes up after the webinar, or would be interested in applying for the virtual internship program, please feel free to reach out to IEC for support, or email to hello@virtualinternship.com to ask any question about the program you may have. So I hope you all brought back such valuable information on future work trends and the new concept of an internship, virtual internship. We are looking forward to receive all the applications from future talents like you all in the coming weeks. Thank you, Alex, for joining us and sharing your valuable insight about the remote work. And thank you all for connecting today, and have a wonderful week ahead.
An absolute pleasure. Have a great day, everyone. I look forward to speaking to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.